Charter Trustees, ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding to receive the worship for the Mayor of Poole? Thank you.
The Honorary Clerk will do some housekeeping.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to say, this is a new venue for the Charter Trustees. The acoustics are good, you can hear, but we do ask that when people, Charter Trustees, speak, that they use the microphone which we have available, because we are recording the whole meeting and we won't pick up your voice, unfortunately, unless you use the microphone. So we will bring a microphone round. Otherwise, I would just ask Charter Trustees to familiarise themselves with the emergency exits, which are at the back or to this side of the room. So this is the first meeting we've held here. I hope it is successful, and it feels like a fitting tribute to the Guildhall, which is a fantastic location in Poole. Thank you.
Thank you. Charter Trustees, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome everyone to this annual general meeting and hope you enjoy the occasion. I would like to advise you that this meeting is being recorded and will be available to view on our website for at least 6 months. Apologies. Please may we have apologies for absence.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've had apologies been received from the following Charter Trustees: Councillor Beasley, Councillor Broadhead, Councillor Challoner, Councillor Haynes and Councillor Miles.
Item 2, declarations of interest.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. None have been received to date.
Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda. Now, I've tried to time this and keep it to about 3 minutes, and it's episode 1 of 2, so warning that it's not all you get. But hopefully everyone will be able to keep what they say to this kind of time, and then we will all get back. Those who need to go to children's services at 6 will be able to get there. It will be difficult to accurately represent the last 54 weeks in 2 brief speeches, but I will try. This element will be about the few months since the last Charter Trustees meeting, which was in January. By far the biggest event was the coronation weekend. Following on from the all-out local elections and a long spell of purdah, it was particularly difficult to get a handle on what was going on. When my colleagues were watching their count and finding out whether they were re-elected, I was with the Mayor of Bournemouth, Chairman of BCP Council and several other mayors and dignitaries from Dorset at Sherborne Abbey at the official service of celebration of the new King. The Mayor of Bournemouth and the Chairman of BCP Council found out their fate at refreshments after the service. I had a couple of hours to wait to confirm mine. I had a positive working relationship with both the Chairman of BCP and the Mayor of Bournemouth, so had mixed emotions at their fate. I will miss working with Bob Lawton in particular, as he sympathised with some of our challenges in Poole. We may be different towns, but with different traditions, but we share the struggles with being charter trusts. On the Saturday, I joined the hardy few at Beta who watched the coronation in the rain. Thankfully, former councillor L.J. Evans, a hero of the day, secured a gazebo, which the security team helped erect. in the pouring rain in a sort of a Challenge Annika moment, if you're old enough to remember that series. The downside was that due to us having to hold the tent down in the gathering breeze, I only ever saw the bottom third of the big screen. So didn't see a lot of the coronation from where I was. The Sunday of that weekend included the presentation of only the second and third of the Poole Charter Mayor's Award. With memories of the previous day, I took the precaution of stopping off on the way to Beta to purchase a gazebo. As it happens, we didn't need the cover, but a big thank you to the Sheriff Mike Brooke, my new ward colleague Adrian Chapman-Law, and Gina Wilcox from the Poole Cherbourg Twinning Association, who helped me and the Mayoress put the gazebo up. I will be working out what to do with it at a later date. It's way too big for my garden. We presented awards to Stuart Dean and Greg Bement, representing Poole Hospital Cancer Treatment Trust, who had raised a staggering £20+ million over the last 50 years towards the treatment and diagnosis of all forms of cancer. The other award was given out 2 weeks later to Gordon Muspratt, who is Treasurer of the Royal Antediluvian Order of the Buffaloes, has helped raise huge sums of money for local charities, including recently the Marie Curie Trust. These are people giving up lots of time and effort, often under the radar, to raise money for deserving causes. I hope to see many more awards given out in the future. The criteria is that they live in Poole, work voluntary over an extended period, and help causes that benefit local people. I hope that whoever is elected the new Charter Mayor of Poole, they will continue to promote this award. I will leave it here for now, but we'll run through more of last year a bit later. So, item 4 on the agenda, election of the Mayor. We will now take item 4 on the agenda, the election of Mayor, with the honorary titles of Admiral of the Port of Poole, Mayor of the Staple and Clerk of the Market. The mace bearer will announce the office of Mayor.
Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay. Is there any person here that offers themselves for the office of Mayor of Poole for the ensuing year? Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay. Is there any person here who offers themselves for the office of Mayor of Poole for the ensuing year? Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay. Is there any person here who offers themselves for the office of Mayor of Poole for the ensuing year? Mr. Mayor.
Right. I now invite Councillor Julie Bagwell to propose herself.
Thank you, Councillor, Mr. Mayor. I propose myself as the nominated Mayor-elect to be the Mayor of Poole. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Honorary Clerk, Charter Trustees and officers of the Council. Firstly, I give thanks to the outgoing Sheriff and his lady for their work during 2022-23. I was proud to be made the Sheriff of Poole in 2019, to be one of only 15 sheriffs in England and Wales. The history of the Sheriff made Poole unique, and that 2 reigning queens made it possible. Queen Elizabeth I, and much later a new charter granted by Queen Elizabeth II. That special position made me aware of the rich history of Poole, and I was proud to be a part of it. Following my 2-year term as Sheriff, I was made the Mayor of Poole in May 2021. This year will stand out in everybody's memories as the year of the end of the pandemic, when life as we know it was put on hold. Everyone in the country was affected in some way, and my heart goes out to those who lost loved ones. The loss of the ability to carry out a memorable year in office pales into insignificance, compared with losses suffered throughout the whole world. However, this loss was recognised by the Poole Charter Trustees towards the end of the last council. They nominated me to become the next Mayor of Poole. This was to enable me to carry through the hopes and aspirations that I failed to achieve in 21-22, through no fault of my own. I'm very eager to carry on the historic role of Poole and to preserve the rich heritage of Poole. My aim, as I've always followed, is to reach out to people, especially the young, to further that heritage and to encourage our children to take part in the community of Poole through various sporting and leisure activities. I will visit schools and youth organisations to further the role of the council and of the mayoralty. I'll be pleased to hold regalia events that show the history of the town, where they live, and will encourage questions. I will also endeavour to return citizenship ceremonies to Poole, where they now are held in Bournemouth Town Hall. This means that residents of Poole who qualify for citizenship have to go to Bournemouth, while we have a perfectly adequate Guildhall in Poole, which is beautiful, as you can see. I'll also support the Charter Trust in endeavouring to provide a permanent place for the civic functioning of Poole. I will support local organisations and charities by making myself available for them in furthering their various local aims, and will welcome visiting dignitaries, hopefully into relevant places such as the Guildhall or a part of the Civic Centre if a civic home is made available there. I'll be totally non-political and will be accountable for all of my actions as Mayor. Therefore, I so propose that I be elected as Mayor of Poole for the ensuing municipal year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I now invite Councillor Jude Butt to second the proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's not on. Right, okay, it's working apparently. I don't usually need a microphone, but for the purposes of recording. Mr. Mayor, Madam Deputy Mayor, Mr. Sheriff, Honorary Clerk, Charter Trustees, honoured guests and members of the public. It is my pleasure and privilege to second Councillor Julie Bagwell as Mayor of Poole for the ensuing municipal year. We haven't heard much about Julie, so it's customary that the proposer would normally say that, but as she's proposed herself, I'll tell you a little bit about Julie. Julie, known as Jules, is a pragmatic, plain speaker, a recognised, well-respected local treasure, a sparkling diamond made of the toughest substance known to all genders and none. Jules was born in the swinging 60s in Dorchester. Coming from a hard-working family background, her dad taught her the true benefit of hard graft from dawn till dusk, and those that know her will see that nothing has changed. Jules was educated locally and excelled in English, with spelling, reading and crosswords her absolute passion. She openly admits, however, that she did occasionally skip school. However, the first-hand knowledge giving her full understanding of youngsters which are so close to her heart in the same situation today. She calls it her university of life. Jules moved to Poole 46 years ago, married and brought up her large family, and she's now a grandmother of 9. I first met Jules at the first area committee meeting in Hamworthy in the early 2000s. Some will remember those area committees. She, grabbing my instant attention, perched on the edge of her seat, her hands waving furiously in the air to get the attention of the chair, to candidly share with the gathered public her exact thoughts of the matter under debate. Jules has and will always put her community first and last and in between. She's a natural leader, a very experienced councillor, and a proven genuine ambassador for Poole and her community. Over the decades, I've enjoyed working together on many community projects. Jules' boundless energy and infinite command of getting everyone to do exactly as is needed, or exactly as Julie wants, ensures that they were always huge fun and always delivered with minimal funding. Perhaps one of the most memorable events was the community refurbishment of the Lake Pier toilets in Hamworthy. I'll share this again for our new Charter Trustees. Some of you may have heard this story. We had no money and little equipment, but working with amazing volunteers, we scrubbed the absolutely filthy toilets from top to bottom and cleared badly blocked drains. Jules, we discovered, had a particular penchant for tiling, repairing and replacing huge areas of the toilet walls and floors. She had to admit to Spike, her partner, when she eventually got home very late that evening, that she was sorry, but she'd had a rather grubby night out on the tiles. Jules was Hamworthy's Safer Neighbourhood Chair and the then Poole Housing Partnership tenant rep for many years, a real voice for those who often could not speak up for themselves. Resigning in 2014 to stand as a Borough of Poole councillor in her Hamworthy ward, Julie elected in 2015 and returned again for BCP in 2019 and this year in her third term as a serving councillor. So in summary, Jules is known for her candour, her unstinting dedication and serving her residents, her total non-political stance that drives her to improve the lives of everyone in her community, and her deeply entrenched passion and knowledge of Poole, especially the civic offices. She dedicated to ensure that Poole's civic history, integrity and pride is maintained in perpetuity. Julie was formally nominated and unanimously supported by Poole Charter Trustees this Jan 23 for the office of Mayor of Poole 23-24. I respectfully remind those Charter Trustees that this was because COVID had impacted hugely on Julie's mayoral year of 21-22, and that she had already demurred to Councillor Lipodovin, so Councillor Lipodovin could take a second year in office as Mayor 2021. Due to COVID impacting to a lesser extent on Councillor Podovin's mayoral year of 2019-20, with COVID restrictions commencing March of 2020 until January 22, being a full 10 months of Julie's mayoral year affected from May 21 to 22, in comparison to 3 months of Councillor Podovin's mayoral year of 2019-20, from March 20 to May 20. I therefore have no hesitation to formally second that Mrs. Julie Bagwell's formal unanimous Councillor Charter Trustee nomination be honoured, and she be so elected as Mayor of Poole for the ensuing municipal year, 2023-2024. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Right, thank you. Are there any other nominations? Right, Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to... Is that working? I'd like to nominate Councillor Joe Clements. Mr. Mayor, Honorary Clerk, honorary guests, Charter Trustees, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honour and privilege to nominate Councillor Joe Clements to be the Mayor of Poole for the forthcoming municipal year. Jo has made Poole her home with her family for many years. Many of us have known Jo for many years, not just as a previous Poole Borough Councillor, but firstly I knew her as the Mayor's Secretary. Jo's organisational skills, her diplomacy and her attention to detail were much appreciated by all members when she carried out that role. I haven't checked the full 700 plus year history of Poole, but I suspect it's possibly unique that a former Mayor's Secretary would become nominated as Mayor for Poole. Jo has previously served as a Poole councillor for a 4-year term from 2011 to 2015. As part of that, she served as the Sheriff of Poole from 2014 to 15. So she's had a long 8-year wait to move from being Sheriff to receive a Mayor's nomination. Jo's background and experience and work in hospitality and tourism, including at Rockley Park and Harbour Heights and other venues around Poole, gives her great experience to carry out the role of Mayor. She welcomes everyone, whether it's for the first time she's ever met them, the 10th time or the 100th time. It doesn't change, she's always welcoming. Her organisation, diplomacy, friendliness and hospitality are perfect qualifications to become the Mayor and the welcoming face of Poole. And I hereby nominate Jo.
Thank you. Please can I have a seconder for this proposal? Councillor Podovin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm absolutely delighted to have the chance to second the nomination made by Councillor Brown for Councillor Joe Clements. It was only thanks to the electorate, we have to say, that she hasn't already served a term as Mayor, having been Sheriff from 14 to 15 and expecting and hoping, and we all hoped, that she would become Mayor in 2015. Unfortunately, circumstances meant that that didn't happen. So now, with her election to the council, to BCP Council in May this year, the opportunity has presented itself to correct the fault of that time so that we can now give Jo the honour and the positions that she richly deserves. As Councillor Brown has said, she is uniquely qualified, having seen the mayoralty from both sides, both as Mayor's Secretary for many years and then as Sheriff. She is well qualified. She will do an excellent job, and I'm absolutely delighted to be able to second her nomination.
Yes, thank you. I think the Honorary Clerk will explain the options on the voting procedure.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The standing orders for Poole Charter Trustees under Standing Order 13, paragraph I, says that voting will be by a show of hands, with the Charter Mayor having a casting vote. So that's the procedure that's written down in the standing orders. Do you want to?
Yeah. We will now go to the vote by either a secret ballot or show of hands.
Show of hands under the standing orders.
Yeah.
Councillor Sutherland.
My apologies, Mr Mayor. Can we vote by ballot, please?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The procedure for change it would require a suspension of Standing Order 13I, which you can do under Standing Order 24. That would need somebody to move that, somebody to second it, and then that motion would have to be carried by a majority of the Charter Trustees present in order to change the voting arrangements. So we would need somebody to propose that, then somebody to second it, and then take a vote on moving to a secret ballot, if that's your preferred route.
I'm happy to second.
Show of hands on whether to move to a secret ballot.
Yeah. I think the proposal to go to a secret ballot has been proposed and seconded. All those in favour?
It's 22.
Right.
Yeah.
And anyone against?
Also 23. Nope. So
Nope. So it will be by secret ballot.
Just to confirm for the record, Mr Mayor, can I confirm that you've just voted to suspend that standing order that requires vote to be by a show of hands, and therefore you've asked for it to be by a secret ballot, which we can now administer, I think. Richard, are you?
I think we're about to get the result.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The result of the ballot was 23 votes in favour of Councillor Clements, 2 in favour of Councillor Bagwell and 2 abstentions. So you may like to announce the Mayor.
Right, thank you. I declare the election of Councillor Joe Clements as Mayor, Admiral of the Port of Poole, Mayor of the Staple and Clerk of the Market for the ensuing municipal year. The Civic Party will now depart for a few minutes and allow the new Mayor to robe.
Would you please stand whilst the Civic Party retire? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding to receive the Worshipful, the Mayor of Poole? Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. I will now continue with the rest of the ceremony. Please be seated. I will now read and sign the Declaration of Acceptance of Office. I, Councillor Joe Clements, having been elected to the office of Mayor of the Poole Charter Trustees, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. Do I need to date it?
I'll just sign it to make it official. Okay. You're the mayor.
I appoint John Butterworth as my mayor's consort for the ensuing municipal year. And I have a few words to say, but I will keep it very short because I know that time is of the essence. So, Charter Trustees, ladies and gentlemen, Honorary Clerk, officers of the Council. Firstly, I want to say it's a huge honour to have been elected as the 775th Mayor of Poole, a position that I will uphold to the very best of my ability with pride and affection for the beautiful town of Poole that I represent. I moved to Poole 21 years ago from London because I wanted my children, Freddie and Isabel, then aged 8 and 6, to grow up in a healthy and beautiful environment. And I've never looked back. It is indeed a very beautiful town, steeped in maritime history and civic pride. From the beautiful Georgian buildings to our spectacular golden beaches, I fell in love with Poole the first time I ever visited. And now here I am, the girl from Camden Town, the Mayor of Poole. Who'd have thought it? As Councillor David Brown said previously, some of you may already have known, that I was the Mayor and Sheriff of Poole's Secretary for 6.5 years, and I enjoyed the variety that the post offered, not knowing then that more than a decade later, I would myself be Mayor. Funny how life has its peculiar twists and turns. And Carolyn and Hazel, I have the utmost respect for you both. I know exactly what it feels like from your side of the counter, so to speak. In 2014, I was elected the 446th Sheriff of Poole and Mayor-elect the following year. But sadly, it was not to be, as I lost my seat in the 2015 local election, as did many of my Liberal Democrat colleagues. Now I have been given a second chance to give my support as Mayor to the people of Poole, who I will serve with commitment and dignity. I'm very much looking forward to the challenges ahead and the opportunity to enhance the reputation and status of Poole. The charity I wish to support throughout my year is Dorset Mind, and I hope I get many opportunities to give my support wherever I can. Thank you to everyone who has supported me. I promise you that I will work tirelessly as your ambassador and will endeavour to create a positive and thriving culture in all that I do in my role as Mayor. The office will contact the Poole Charter Trustees as soon as there's an opportunity so that we may arrange a lovely celebration for all involved. Thank you. I will now present the past mayor and mayoress's badges. We now take item 5 on the agenda, which is the election of Deputy Mayor, carrying with it the honorary title of Senior Bailiff. I now invite Councillor Sandra Macro to propose Councillor Tony Trent.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Charter Trustees, officers, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm proposing Poole's outgoing Mayor, Tony Trent, as Deputy Mayor with the honorary title of Senior Bailiff. To our outgoing Sheriff, Mike Brooke, our vote of thanks is sincerely expressed for your commitment and dedication that you have given in your duties to the people of Poole this past year. Thanking you kindly, Dame Annette Brooke. Mike, I wish you a deservingly enjoyable retirement. As many of you know, Tony was Poole born and bred. Last year, he was elected the 774th Charter Mayor for Poole. For him, this was clearly a huge honour and a privilege to represent the town he not only comes from, but one that he cares so deeply and passionately about. As Deputy Mayor, he'll continue his work as a dedicated member of the Civic Party and an asset to our town's civic history. That dedication has clearly been demonstrated by his commitment to the role over the last year, having attended hundreds of community events and celebrations, showing the strength of spirit and talent we have amongst the people of Poole. Tony's passion has always been youth services, and he's never one to shy away from the lobbying for activists and services for children and young people. In his role as mayor, he was able to congratulate some of the fantastic work that goes in our town, including opening a brand new garden at Heatherlands Primary and attending Squirrel Scouts in Camford Heath. Throughout the last year, Tony's leadership as mayor has been gratefully received, with his attendance as to many Jubilee events as he could possibly fit in his diary. He also saw us through the sad passing of Queen Elizabeth II and the coronation of King Charles III, and has been flying the flag for the importance of civic unity whilst our country has been through such a huge change. Tony's passion, though, is Poole and the people of Poole, young and old. Earlier this year, he laid a wreath at the Seaview Memorial for local lad Stephen Ford, tragically losing his life on board HMS Arden in the Falklands conflict 40 years ago. He also had the opportunity to help a resident celebrate their centenary with a community event led by dedicated volunteers. I'd like to express my thanks to Anne, Lady Mayoress, for your support to Tony and the people of Poole. As Lady Deputy Mayor, you will also serve us well. At the Charter Trust meeting in January, from Tony, stated, quote, "The role of Charter Mayors within BCP is evolving and hopefully can be restored to the kind of prominence the old borough mayor had for so many years. I really hope the Civic Working Party can rise to new challenges and make sure that the Mayor, Sheriff of Poole and the Charter Trust has a significant role in promoting our town and making it the important and significant partner in the future, as well as celebrating our past. Tony, a true Poole gent." Thank you.
I now invite Councillor Marion Lepodova to second the proposal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm delighted to have the honour of seconding, get it right, the outgoing Mayor, Councillor Tony Trent, as Deputy Mayor for the coming year. When I proposed Tony a year and a bit ago, I made a point about him being Poole through and through. I think I said something about it running through him like the lettering in a stick of rock. And he's proved that this year by his absolute devotion to so many groups, so many events. And one of the things that he saw as his role, and I must congratulate him on it, on the work he did, was building bridges across Poole, with organisations. He's sown the seeds. Let's hope it can continue to build and make Poole the great place we all know it is. So I'm delighted to second your nomination, Tony.
Are there any other nominations? I put the motion that Councillor Tony Trent be appointed Deputy Mayor, incorporating the honorary title of Senior Bailiff of the Borough for the ensuing municipal year. Those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? That's carried. I declare the election of Councillor Tony Trent as Deputy Mayor, incorporating the honorary title of Senior Bailiff for the ensuing municipal year. I now invite the Deputy Mayor to read and sign the declaration of acceptance of office.
I, Tony Trent, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of the Poole Charter Trustees, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I appoint my wife, Anne Trent, to be Deputy Mayoress for the ensuing municipal year.
I now invite the Deputy Mayor to say a few words.
Thank you. This is where, after a little way through, I start to improvise, so hopefully it'll work out. Firstly, a big thank you to the outgoing Deputy Mayor, Julie Bagwell, who has come to the end of a 4-year run of civic office. The Deputy Mayor can often end up with the bits left over that the Mayor wasn't able to do. Julie may have struck lucky, as I had almost all my teeth removed at the beginning of September and waited till April before they were replaced with troublesome false teeth. As a result, almost all dinners and food-related openings were handed over to the Deputy Mayor. Hopefully she was able to enjoy some, if not all of them. Teeth and the polite way of dealing with their failings has haunted much of my year, whether it be partaking in a mince pie without realising I did not have the means to eat it, or my new false teeth coming out whilst eating a piece of flan. That has haunted me throughout. The latter incident was at one of the many care homes I visited throughout my 54 weeks. The care home sector in Poole is varied and caters for a wide range of needs, meeting those with dementia in all its different forms can be harrowing. Care in all its forms is a growing area, and special mention should go to all the fantastic and dedicated staff who run the facilities and do the day-to-day caring. What they do for the community and in their work is just unbelievably fantastic. There are not very many of us that could do what they do, but they do it well, and I'm really impressed. It makes some of our sort of petty differences from the sort of political side of the world look quite feeble in comparison. It's been a strange year, particularly with regards to the royal situation. It started off joyous with the Platinum Jubilee, and the beacon lighting in Poole, which I will say rather smugly worked quite well in Poole. We actually lit the beacon bang on time, so I was quite pleased with that, and I was really pleased with Gary for making sure that that happened. And just to be a little bit different, because let's face it, Poole is different, I counted up in 10 years and got the people gathered there to do that rather than do a countdown. So I went 10, 20, and I tried to get everyone to cheer louder as we approached the 70. And wasn't too bad. It sort of worked out quite well. But, you know, that was really, a fantastic start to the year. Unfortunately, matter of 3 months or so later, we had the sad passing of the Queen. That actually was a particularly difficult time because one of the problems that we had was that because Poole is no longer a first level authority or anything like that, we didn't have an official role in the process, and so we had to create one. And I remember buying an attic light from B&Q, almost plugged them earlier on, to hold up whilst I read the declaration on the steps of the locked up Poole Civic Centre. But thanks to the efforts of the Chief Executive and others, we did actually manage to at least have the flag at half-mast. But that was very much what the year's been all about, improvisation, which is the bit I'm in on the what I'm sort of reading out. I've said that a lot of the visits over the last year have been to care homes, and we've got a lot in this area, and it's absolutely fantastic that there are older people and some not so older people, because there are people in care that are quite a lot younger than I am, although that doesn't sort of take a lot of doing. But one of the more recent events was actually the second of the 100th birthday celebrations that I took part in, and it was a chap who was a senior surgeon, an eye surgeon at Poole Hospital and Westbourne Eye Hospital until the age 70, and he celebrated his 100th birthday, and it was really fantastic to be able to present him with the Royal 100th birthday card, one of the first that went out with the King and Queen Camilla. Throughout the year, there's been a wide range of fantastic stuff, and this is where I've actually ran out of the quick list that I made. There's been a fantastic variety of events ranging from car shows to sing-alongs. I think I've been to church more often in the last year than I've been in my entire life, which probably won't get me any brownie points from those who religiously go to church every week. But no, there's been so much that's come from it that I think has been really fantastic, and I have throughout tried to promote Poole and promote the interests of Poole. One thing I was also particularly proud to do was to represent Poole as mayor, but also part of the Twinning Association in 2 trips to Cherbourg. One of them in support of the Poole Dolphin Marching Band, which were sponsored by the Twinning Association, which in turn has been sponsored by the Charter Trustees. It was young people actually enjoying going over to the other side of the English Channel and performing, and they were very well received with other young people in what was a fantastic carnival, which makes me think, oh, we could do a little bit better than that in Poole if we had the resources. And I think that was a fantastic occasion. The second time I went over with some medieval musicians from, well, it was Dorset-wide as opposed to just Poole. And we had a visit last September from their French equivalents, and this was the return leg of the Twinning visit. I'm going to be kicking myself later on because there'll be all sorts of things which I should have thought about, but, you know, I ran out of writing down time. But one of the last events was a particularly interesting one, particularly with the embarrassing photographs that came from it. And there won't be anyone here who's probably old enough, apart from maybe the odd one or two, which remember Edna Adams. But my first year as a councillor, in May 1983, at this equivalent, the outgoing mayor gave an example of what she had done during her year. And the thing that stuck in my mind, because it seemed quite sort of shocking, was the reference to the mayor accidentally showed the mayoral knickers. I can understand exactly where that comes from, because something which wasn't planned, which was tagged on to the... someone came up with a brilliant idea, and I said, oh, yeah, OK, I'll go along with that. But I had to be piggybacked onto the back of a rowing gig to be given a spin round the harbour. If you think of a people-powered Formula One car, that was basically how this gig rowing boat went. And I'm rather hoping that they go from strength to strength. They've got this new boat, which is sort of like the old one, but a lot lighter, and its turn of speed is absolutely fantastic. And I think next weekend we may be seeing them win one of their first championships. So fortunately, the photograph wasn't any more embarrassing than me piggybacking on one of the rowers, but it could have been. Anyway, I'm honoured and privileged to take that, to take the role on, and really hope to support the new mayor, and hopefully with the Charter Trustees to really try to get Poole up there in the front row of just about everything. So hopefully we will be able to work together and achieve that. Thank you.
We will now take item 6 on the agenda, the election of sheriff. I now invite Councillor Andy Hadley to propose Councillor Pete Miles.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Charter Trustees, I'd like to propose Councillor Pete Miles for Sheriff of Poole. There are many people, like the Mayor yourself, who have come to call Poole their home and who love it well. But Pete was born and bred here. He has fished from Poole and he has run several businesses from the town over many years. He is particularly keen to encourage sport for young people and has coached football extensively in the town. He told me that whilst living for a while in Cherbourg, he was selected to play for that town, but he chose instead to come back to the Poole he loves. I know the Deputy Mayor has been keen to rekindle the jumelage with Cherbourg, as we've just heard, and I'm sure Pete will pick that up and run with it. Unfortunately, he is currently in France, so he's unable to be with us today. The Society for Poole have also been keen to restart the beating of the bounds, and we know that Pete has the sea legs to make that a success in 2024. Madam Mayor, I would like to record a vote of thanks for the retiring Deputy Mayor, Councillor Julie Bagwell, and to propose Councillor Pete Miles to be the next Sheriff. Thank you.
I now invite Councillor Tony Trent to second the proposal.
Yes, I'm pleased to second the proposal. I think, just basically, Pete is Poole through and through. He's involved in one of our biggest trades in Poole, which is seafood, and I'm quite happy to second his nomination.
Thank you. I now put the motion that Councillor Pete Miles be elected Sheriff for the next municipal year. Those in favour? Unanimous? Yep. Okay. That's carried. I now declare the election of Councillor Pete Miles as Sheriff of Poole for the ensuing municipal year. I understand Councillor Hadley will be saying a few words on behalf of Councillor Miles.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and there really are very few words. Councillor Miles apologises for missing today, and he asked me to read out a very short statement. Although it was not a contest, I'm glad and honoured to take the historic role of Sheriff and to support our Mayor through this year onwards, and look forward to the possibility of becoming Mayor next year. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now take item 7 on the agenda, the appointment of one representative and a substitute to the Association of Charter Trustee Towns, ACTT. Can I please seek nominations?
Sorry, I'll start again. I nominate Tony Trent for Association of Charter Trustees, and I second Marion as substitute. I'm sorry, I do apologise.
Councillor Vicky Slade. I'm happy to second. Thank you.
I'm very happy to second those nominations.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? I now put the motion that Councillors Tony Trent and Marion Leponoval be appointed representative and substitute, respectively, to the Association of Charter Trustee Towns. Those in favour? Okay, that's carried. I declare that Councillors Tony Trent and Marion Leponoval are appointed representative and substitute, respectively, to the Association of Charter Trustee Towns. We will now take item 8 on the agenda to appoint budget signatories. Can I please seek nominations?
I wish to nominate Councillor Peter Cooper and Councillor David Brown as the budget signatories.
I'm happy to second those nominations.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? I now put the motion that Councillors David Brown and Peter Cooper be appointed budget signatories. Those in favour? Okay. That's carried. I declare that Councillors David Brown and Peter Cooper be appointed budget signatories for the ensuing municipal year. We will now take... We will now take item 9 on the agenda to appoint a Charter Trustee to undertake bank statement verifications. Can I please seek nominations?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to propose Councillor May Haynes.
So I'm very happy to second Councillor May Haynes.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? I now put the motion that Councillor May Haynes be appointed to undertake bank statement verifications for the ensuing municipal year. Those in favour? Okay, that's carried. I declare that Councillor May Haynes be appointed to undertake bank statement verifications for the ensuing municipal year. We will now take item 10 on the agenda to agree the calendar of meetings. The Charter Trustees are asked to consider the following arrangements for meetings in accordance with the standing orders. 26th of June 2023 at 5 p.m, 17th October 2023 at 5 p.m, 24th January 2024 at 5 p.m, 17th of May 2024 at 11 a.m. Those in favour? Okay, that's carried. I declare that the Charter Trustees have agreed the calendar of meetings in accordance with the standing orders. Charter Trustees and invited guests. Oh, excuse me, there's something that the Honorary Clerk wishes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do apologise. It's just that we've received an additional apology which did come in before 4 o'clock, so we want to record it if we may during the meeting, which is apologies from Councillor Dorton Gibson.
Okay, thank you. Charter Trustees and invited guests, that concludes the business of the meeting, and I formally declare the meeting closed. Thank you.
Would you please stand whilst the Civic Party retires? Thank you.